Transformers Devastation looks exactly like the beloved 80s Japanese cartoon series, but does this video game doppelganger's gameplay fail to match the expectations set by the visuals, or is it truly more than meets the eye? Megatron is back to his usual nastiness, having discovered an ancient Autobot ship, Proudstar, buried beneath the surface of the Earth. The Decepticons plan to use this massive vessel to cyberform Earth, turning it into another Cybertron. Optimus Prime and a handful of other popular Autobots are tasked with getting to Proudstar first in hopes of thwarting Megatron's plans. The game features a slew of characters, many of which are playable, from the original Generation 1 series. Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Grimlock, Sideswipe, and Wheeljack can all be played across any of the 7 chapters. It may not seem like a huge cast, but each Autobot can be upgraded and wield many different weapons which can be purchased or synthesized when you're not in a mission. On the Decepticon side, you've got Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Thundercracker, and the Insecticons. Some of the original G1 cast members are back, and they sound great. The writing is actually very good, and while the one-liners are silly, they fit in perfectly with the classic 80s humor of the original. Transformers Devastation is developed by Platinum Games, and there's definitely some elements from their other games at work here. Much of the combat feels similar to Bayonetta, even being able to slow down time when you dodge an enemy's attack at the right moment. Most of the combat is melee. Each Autobot has a ranged weapon as well, which you can aim and fire with the usual trigger combinations. The biggest difference between this and other hack-and-slash action titles is at any point you can transform into a vehicle and drive around. You can fire your ranged weapon while in vehicle mode, but you'll have to transform back into a biped for any other attacks. Most of the time you'll be using a vehicle to pursue escaping Decepticons. Enemies with shields require you to drive at them at full speed and then hit them with a melee attack in order to break down their defenses. It's one of the many combat quirks that can really take you out of the action, as you spend the entire fight driving around in circles, waiting to reach enough speed to break down a shield. It really hurts the ebb and flow of combat. Each of the 7 chapters takes place inside a single map, and the design is pretty consistent throughout. Fight Decepticons inside a large square arena, move down a hallway, then enter another square arena, and repeat. That's most of the game, though at times you'll have to do some awkward platforming or chase down a Decepticon in vehicle mode. Some of these diversions are fun, but not nearly as entertaining as straight combat is. I wonder if these simply exist because Platinum was worried gamers would get bored with their excellent combat system. I never got bored with combat, but I did find all the other gameplay mechanics to be a bit taxing. The game is relatively short, though achievement and trophy addicts will find plenty of reasons to keep replaying chapters. I didn't even earn my first achievement until I was halfway through the campaign. The presentation is a mixed bag. Sure, it looks like Generation 1 Transformers, but this is a pretty primitive game graphically. It reminds me more of a PlayStation 3 HD remaster from a PlayStation 2 game rather than a current-gen title. The environments are very blocky, there's little draw distance, and you typically only have 4 to 5 characters on screen at any time during a battle. We do get a smooth 60 frames per second, however, so that makes up for some of the graphical inadequacies. Transformers Devastation exploded onto the scene with a great trailer, but the full game doesn't quite live up to my lofty expectations. It feels like a budget game, and we've already seen a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer from Platinum Games, which uses the same engine. That's a pretty quick turnaround for a studio that's also developing Scalebound for the Xbox One. Here's hoping that more craft is put into this Turtles title. Overall, Transformers Devastation scores a 6.0. It's a disappointing game for a franchise that deserves better than nostalgia. The gameplay is severely lacking. However, for fans of hack-and-slash action titles, it won't feel like a 6.0 to you. It's certainly not a best-in-class title, but with these games becoming more and more uncommon, it should be enough for hardcore fans while they wait for Japan, and probably Platinum Games, to turn out a better title.